Hey there, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about an overview of what September is going to be. This is more of a general update that you should be looking forward to once a month, telling you the importances of certain activities that's happening here within the gym, the focus of programming, and other major items. So look for this to be kind of coming out within the first week of every month or the last week of every month if I'm able to go ahead and get out in front of it. So with that, let's talk about programming focus. The programming focus is going to be continued and taste very much like what August was. Every week we're going to be touching double unders, and we're also going to be going ahead and be touching at least one, if not two, of the high skill gymnastics movements, handstand push-ups, muscle-ups, pull-ups, other items like that in normal CrossFit class programming. You'll go ahead and see additional work through like handstands, other items in terms of heavy barbell cycling, even heavier barbell cycling in the open gym programming that's made to complement the 60-minute just normal CrossFit class. Realize in terms of programming for that, the extra programming in open gym, you are given a part A, B, and C. B is the normal class. So if you think you can get in anywhere from about a half hour early, that's why we have those half-hour open gym times before and after class to get part A done. That would be amazing, right? Because that is essentially monostructural work, building your level 1 fitness, your aerobic capacity to work really hard. And they're made to be designed to be relatively low skill, so you don't need to warm up a ton. You can warm up into it almost. Then you do class, and then if you have enough energy, you feel like it's appropriate, you're staying safe, then go into part C, which is going to be a little bit more skill-based, either heavy, or you're going to go ahead and see a little bit more volume in terms of classic CrossFit. Now, if you aren't being able to go ahead and get a part A and C done, and let's say you're only able to stay after class and not or get early into class, then prioritize part A, because when it comes down to it, what's the biggest limiting factor in terms of people's performance in the open, so we're going to be talking about that here in a second, is going to be their metabolic conditioning, their ability to go ahead and mash down on essentially the gas pedal hard and stay at a high level of performance for as long as they can. And of course, if there's any other limiting factors, it's always usually going to go ahead and be high skill gymnastics, which is why we're touching them a lot. Now, realize in terms of programming, we aren't programming a ton different than we would normally would. High skill gymnastics are still a fundamental piece of normal CrossFit programming, and metabolic conditioning is still one of the most important items of the fitness pyramid, or what CrossFit calls the theoretical hierarchy of development. Remember, nutrition is the base, right? Below that, you could argue that it's character, sleep, motivation, right? And then the next part of that pyramid is going to be metabolic conditioning. Then after that, it's gymnastics. Then we have weightlifting, right? So realize that we're still hitting the fundamentals that aren't even related to the open if it even didn't exist. So that is going to be the focus of September, with some main workouts like Grace that we already completed, Fight Gone Bad, and then we're going to be working on 3 rep maxes for the push press, front squat, and deadlift. Essentially trying to build up your neurological base a little bit more, so if something heavy, like always there usually is like a part B in an open workout, or it's just baked into it right away, at least you have that foundation, that raw strength, and it's only that technique work that you get already in class to go ahead and work through that. You've also seen, and it was going to be in the programming, a part A and part B, where part B is going to go ahead and be a heavy lift. We already got that done because it turns out we're doing the Wodapalooza online qualifiers, and that's going to actually be tomorrow. It's going to be a gross conditioning workout, classic CrossFit. Then in time remaining of 15 minutes, you go ahead and you try to hit a 1RM. So it actually goes really well with this week's programming in terms of what we already did earlier this week, Wednesday, and then going into there. So you already have an idea. So that is going to be programming what to expect. Now let's talk about the CrossFit Open. Now, a lot of people go ahead and get super intense, super hyped about the Open, and I love the energy about it. But all the negative energy or anxiety that comes about the Open, I'm just going to say it, it's really misplaced And if you find yourself having all this anxiety about the open, it's because we have I would say, a poor mindset of what training is supposed to be during the rest of the year. During the rest of the year, we're supposed to be going almost every workout, 80%, right? Effort with a little bit of a sprint effort at the end just to make sure we weren't pacing it too much. And then once a week, we're supposed to go ahead and go ham, right? We're supposed to test, have we actually built our aerobic capacity, our strength base? We're supposed to go and push it. That kind of makes sure that we're keep on breaking through any glass ceilings that we put on top of ourselves, or just testing to see if our normal other 4 training days out of the week, or whatever that is for you, is actually moving the needle forward and building a larger base, a larger capacity for ourselves. And guess what? That's what the open is. It should be normal training, and then once a week you go ham. All it is now it's named. And rather than just putting in Wodify, it's putting it into the CrossFit Games site. That's all, right? And which is why we go ahead, and why the cool thing is the open is always just classic CrossFit. And that's what we try to program here. And we try to stay in line with HQ as much as we can. So that way you guys can go ahead, have awesome GPP, physical preparedness program, and then roll into something like the open and feel like you're prepared, or feel like you've done what it's going to be asking you to do. And that way you can be a part of the global community, because that is one thing every other GPP program doesn't really have. It has a global community, right, that has like-kind values, all these other items, and I think that is something extremely special. You can drop into the East Coast, you can drop into South America, India, right, Asia, you can go in continents or talk about specific countries, and you can almost find a CrossFit box anywhere to go and drop into now, right? So, guys, that's what the CrossFit Open is, and that's how our training should be. And if you wanted to dive really deep into something that could actually move the needle to help your performance, if you're worried about that, guess what? That's nutrition, because nutrition is going to be the only thing that you can really focus on for about a month without going crazy. And you can go ahead, become leaner, stronger, support, and create better habits long-term, even to happen after, and get better results. Because in reality, what is the open? Large volume of conditioning work and gymnastics work. And when it comes down to it, you just want to try to be as healthy and as lean as you can. That doesn't mean starving yourself. And that's why we do Healthy Steps Nutrition. And that's why I would encourage any of you that haven't done the reboot yet to do the nutrition reboot, because it's not a protocol. It's not a program that is telling you to be intermittent fasting. Keto, paleo, something like the Whole30, which is essentially strict paleo, which you can really only ever do for a month, maybe 2 in a row. And most people have to fall off because it's too intense, too restrictive, and it doesn't actually allow real life to happen. Healthy Steps Nutrition is a sustainable, healthy habit that helps you to go ahead and have a healthy relationship with food. It's not restrictive, and it works on the foundations, right, of what nutrition should be. And that way you don't feel like you are going through these ebbs and flows. So anyway, that's why you guys should go ahead, if you're going to focus on anything and kind of take any anxiety around the open and have to put it into more, don't do it in your training, do it in your nutrition, and sign up for the reboot. Remember, if you've done the reboot already, email me and we can go and get you coupon codes. You can do it before. You get a customized macronutrient plan. It's really awesome, guys. Amy and I have done keto. We've done strict paleo, we've done Whole30, we've done RP, we've done a bunch of things on purpose to kind of test, see what it is for a few months each, enough to go and see where the results are, how our body feels. And when it comes down to it, Healthy Steps Nutrition is what we think is the most sustainable and healthy, which is why we landed on it and why we affiliated with them for the nutrition program. Because, when it comes down to it, we have a business, we have kids, we kind of understand what happens to your life when you fill all the buckets and you just aren't single and you're able to focus on training 100%, which is totally fine. That's awesome. But guess what? Like your nutrition, how it is maybe now when you're single and X, Y, and Z, or maybe just spouses and no kids and you have tons of flexibility. Guess what? I bet you, unless it's something like Healthy Steps Nutrition, that is going to explode and get ripped apart, and then you're gonna have to relearn something new. So you might as well learn and start a nutrition protocol that can survive contact with the enemy, and that's just real life, guys, right? So anyway, that's my rant. Let's talk about Outlast now. Outlast is getting a little bit of an overhaul in terms of programming and how it's organized within Wodify. Outlast still has the 9 a.m. Monday through Friday chunk to go ahead and work on core and aerobic conditioning. That's to organize your core and to go ahead and really make sure that you are strong there, because that's where the foundation of really most of your power and strength is. And we focus on that because honestly, when it comes down to it, individuals and females that have going to be pregnant or are pregnant, that's really kind of that class for you, because when it comes down to it, you can talk to Amy and I more in detail, midline core and midline stability is important. And that does not mean just a bunch of crunches, a bunch of other things. It's how you organize it and stabilize, right? And yeah, anyway, right? Look up BirthFit, and that's one of the many certs that we've taken to help support this program. That's what it's going to be. Now, it's still going to have that focus, but it's no longer going to be this longer conditioning piece with core baked in. It's going to have some very intentional 15-minute work of that core and conditioning piece. And then we're going to dive into some more classic CrossFit, because what we were finding is, and I was finding, is that Outlast was just turning into a core, and it was really good, but it was just turning into a CrossFit light, more of like a HIIT class. And when it comes down to it, that is suboptimal than CrossFit, classic CrossFit, to create a strong base of fitness. So what we decided to do is go ahead and kind of adjust the programming even more so we can still be classic CrossFit and still be able to get the intention of that core organization. So know that that's how it's going to be. Now, the 2:30 class is still grandma and grandpa class, right? Master's class. And it's just going ahead and mimic that kind of same organization, but it's going to be more programmed for about 45 minutes of work, just because the pace that we need to go it needs to be a little slower. Because we either need a little more rest between parts or allow people to go ahead and catch on to it. So Sunday's class is not going to be changing. That's still going to be Andy's and Beth's programming, having fun, and go ahead and sweating for a long time, right? That's the original Outlast class there. Now, how do you find these guys? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can go ahead, kind of see where they all are. Now, it's not in CrossFit anymore in terms of the program. So if you're on the page, you're going to go ahead. There's this cool little Trapper WOD page, so you can go ahead and always get ideas and motivation for like hotel workouts or other items like that. But you're going to go ahead and see this Outlast tab in the programming. From there, you're going to go ahead and see what the programming is, right? And you'll see kind of how it's laid out. Now, how you log into it, you're still going to use Coaching Board. Hey, Pepper, right? Pepper's that walked into the door. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to go to Settings. You're going to drop down and make sure not in CrossFit, but you're in Outlast. You want to come up and say hi to everybody? Say hi to everybody, right? And then you're going to go ahead and choose, right? This is back on a future date, so that's why it's not letting you. And go ahead and pick the 9 or the 2:30 class. Simple as that, guys, right? That's how you get into it. And so it's not gone. It's just put in a different area because we need to separate the program more. Yes?
Daddy, I'm super sorry if we walk down to a park.
We're about to walk down to a park, guys. So it should be super fun. We'll see you on the back end.
Daddy,
and I hope this answers everything for you.
Excited.
As you can see, Pepper is hyped. Guys, we'll see you on the flip side. If you have any questions, reach out and we'll see you.
Da, da, da.